Hi, welcome back to Let's Build, and today I'm going to fulfill a very old request. And Adam, please forgive me. 3 months it's taken me to get around to doing this. Adam wanted me to build one of Magnus Walker's Porsches on the Comet Retro Custom. And I had a good old look through his collection, and I just couldn't see anything that was going to work. So I left it on my to-do list and carried on. In fairness to me, the Comet Retro Custom to me is closest to the Porsche 934, and I think I've done a video on this, and if I have, I'll link it below. Very close to that car. It's also not far off the RWB cars. But what it really isn't is close enough to some of the road cars like Magnus has in his collection. That's what sort of stopped me, but come on, a request is a request. It's the end of 2023 and I'm trying to catch up on the old ones, so I thought I must give this a proper go. And I've had a long look through, and I think Magnus's right-hand drive brown Porsche 930 is going to be the closest. That's the car you see here. That's the car we're going to build. Okay, I've already done the bulk of the customizing in my auto shop, saved the old 5% and a few free things. But ultimately, you do need to bring the car to Benny's because it's a custom and you want to see if there's any options you're missing. I can see the sun strip on there already. So to run through everything then, armour, all your bulletproof tyres, performance to max, of course, we won't talk about that. Bumpers, front bumper, I've gone for the Mark II race bumper, and the reason is, A, I've got some lights in there to reference the one on Magnus's Porsche. Second, it doesn't look as racy as some of them are far too race car. And lastly, the subtle canard on this front lip referenced the black lip on his car. Rear bumpers are just stock because we don't want to add the diffuser. Onto exhaust. Unfortunately, there's one each side and Magnus has a double on one side. So they're all wrong, so let's keep them subtle with the stock exhaust. The fenders are just stock. The hood accessories, we don't want the catches. I think this is a Benny's thing. And for the hood, just the stock hood. I would like the slight, I think it's a recess, isn't it, on the 911 in here, but I can't have that, and the rest are too sort of, vented and what have you. So stock. Interior, this is definitely only Benny's. Now all I really want is a road car interior of about the right colour. Okay, I'm going to edit a load out. I'm trying to find the right brown colour. I've been on it for a while for the interior, which is colouring the seats. I can't quite match it, so I've gone to the external view to at least get a feeling of something a bit lighter than the exterior, and that looks about right. And some of these browns, you see, they start to disappear when you get too dark. You don't even see them from the outside. So something like bleached brown or sandy brown. I'm going to go a bit bolder with bleached brown for that colour there. Okay, and then going back on, well, obviously we're going to go for a stock dash. Dials, stock. Doors, stock. Now we're getting more of a road car. Seats. I haven't got any really good pictures, but I want something fairly stock. I think that's about the right shape, although it does put quite a lot of black on, but okay, we'll decide on, I think, the carbon tuner seats. I just prefer having the whole of the seat with that lighter colour on, even though it does force me to have the belts. Steering wheels, I really like the Apex Basic. I'm going to leave that on there as I've got no photos of his anyway. Well, the light colour, I've seen yellow in a lot of Porsches, so why don't we go for some form of, that looks good, yellow. Roll cage, no roll cage. Okay. Lights, I would like to leave the stock lights if that's what I have. Yeah. No livery. Again, I think you can only choose the livery if you come here. Number plates, up to you. I've got my Porsche plate on there. For the respray, primary colour, metallic, and it won't show on here, it never does, but I have chosen maple brown, and I think it's very close. Maple brown though comes with this pearl that is a little bit too orange. What you do is you select a dark steel pearl, and the dark steel pearl gives a sort of neutral reflection from the car, which is what Magnus seems to have. And the secondary colour is the same, maple brown, trim colour we've already done, so we can move on to the skirts. Everything is a bit too Porsche 934, so it's a stock rather than the larger ones. Spoiler, what a disappointment. You know, a car like this, the whale tail is iconic, and it's not here. We don't so much have a whale tail as a goldfish tail, but we're going to stick with that because everything else are the big sort of wings like your RWBs or even just weirder. Suspension, the car I would say is low enough already. I mean, you might consider maybe one more down to lowered, but that would really be it. For the wheel type, now this is unfortunate because Benny's don't stock, for some reason, the street wheels. I guess they're out of room. And these wheels here are stanced EG custom from the street category. I'll try to remember to add that as text as well. And what I like about these is you get the lovely deep dish at the back and not as deep at the front. That's perfect. You've got 5 spokes of the right size. And painted in gold, just standard gold from the PC, is pretty close. I think even if you have HSW, I don't think you'd find a better gold than this particular colour. Don't forget your bulletproof tyres, and the windows on Magnus's car have such a very slight tint, it's almost nothing, and light smoke would be too much, so no window tint. That completes the build of Magnus Walker's Porsche 930. So I think it's turned out pretty well. I'm not 100% convinced for reasons already explained. I'd really like to hear from you below. Is this a good build, or is it a sort of impossible build? I don't know. I'm also not very sure what ultimately this car is going to be. It's been a lot of things over the years. I haven't decided finally. It might go back to an RWB or it might go back to a 934. Or, you know, I might even keep it like this. It'll probably depend on what you say, because I'm very easily influenced. I'd also like to know if anybody watching has already made a Magnus Walker car. Not just restricted to this, but perhaps on the Comet SR. Is there any you've made already, or that you think would really make a great build? Because, I mean, the guy is a dude. We've got the epic hair, the epic beard, but a truly epic Porsche collection, and I'd love to make one or two more out of Magnus's collection. So any hints or ideas would be gratefully received. Looks like we've been bitten by the rear engine there. And incidentally, before I go, if you Google this car, you'll also see it on a different set of wheels that it must have worn at some point as well. So if you're going to build it, perhaps look at those just in case you would rather use them. But you know, I think these Stance EG Custom look fantastic, so I would stick with those. I hope this build's inspired you in some way, and if it has, a like would be very, very much appreciated. And if you're watching my channel for the first time, or even for the 20th time, but you haven't subscribed, well, please do subscribe. It would be very much appreciated. I'll leave the car driving for a few more seconds, but effectively the video is over. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.